Hey guys, I'm Diana Murray, owner of Nature's Elite. You may remember several months ago we did a YouTube series on gut health and what it means to have a GI map test done, and all the results that I got from having a lot of strange symptoms. I started having joint pain, hair loss. I wasn't able to sleep at night. I had constipation and lots of strange symptoms. I went from doctor to doctor to doctor trying to figure out what was going on with me, and I had somebody recommend that I do a GI map test, which basically is a test. It's a stool sample that you do, and you get lots of results about what's going on inside your gut. So after I did that and nursed myself back to health, taking supplements and making dietary changes, and I opened Nature's Elite. And so now I wanted to, after I kind of shared my story, some people have started hearing about it, and they too wanted to do the same GI map testing. So I have a friend here, Lindsay O'Brien, with me, and her mom actually told her about the GI map test, and so I'm gonna let her kind of share some of her stories and the results that she got from doing the test. So thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about like your symptoms and like what was going on with you.
Okay. So probably as far back as a decade ago, I started having a lot of stomach problems. I started in and out of doctors and specialists and a couple of hospital visits. It was around the time that I was getting married, and people just kept saying we can't find anything wrong. They said I was really stressed, which I didn't feel stressed, but that was making me a little bit stressed. Then I had a massive like silver dollar plug of hair fall out of my head like a couple weeks before my wedding. So a few things like that. I at that point started going to the gym and just trying to eat a little bit less McDonald's, a little more salad, or just trying to make some healthier choices, and it did help to some degree. Fast forward, it took a little while to get pregnant with my daughter. I had her, more symptoms started to come in. After I had her, I did actually suffer some, I think, postpartum, which I'm not sure if it was related to health or postpartum or both. So I started to have a lot of depressive thoughts then, which is really shameful because I felt like I was happier than I'd ever been in my entire life, and I was also really depressed.
Yeah.
So I started, just even trying more to work out more effectively and eat better, and just continuing to try to be more whole all around. And it didn't help. And then I got pregnant with my son, and after I had my son, things really started to come unraveled. Massive hair loss, like skin rashes, mouth sores. My fingernails were just shredding like paper. The stomach problems are still returning, and I think what sort of was a catalyst for some of this is I was explaining to you before, I tried to pour a cup of water from the Brita into the cup, and I was just pouring it all over the counter because my mind couldn't even like focus. I just didn't even have the sense to put together to get the water into the cup. My brain was just so out of it was just so out of
brain fog almost.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was so far I just couldn't get the water in the cup,
Yeah.
and I thought, okay, this is not postpartum. So I started going to some specialists, endocrinologists. They found a pretty severe sized goiter on my thyroid, so they took half of it out. I got a medication. They didn't really do any further testing. They just did the surgery and gave me medication and said I'd be on it for the rest of my life. That really didn't solve any of the other symptoms, though. My energy was completely at a none. Just sad. My whole entire body felt like a wilted leaf or something. Like I just felt so
and you were
unwell.
explaining to me too something about like your jaw and
Right.
and your shoulders.
Yes,
and stuff.
yes. So I had a really old injury that I got when I was 12, I think, and maybe one day a year had it ever bothered me. Like it was not something I ever had problems with. But as all of this started to explode, right around the time they did the surgery, my jaw for my TMJ pain started hurting, and it hurt every single day, 9 out of 10 at least. fast forward until the solution came, but every single day it hurt. And I also have an old shoulder injury, so it would just connect, all of the inflammation and the burning would just connect into this one section, and then it would cause these migraines. Like somebody was just jackhammering into my skull, and I stayed home with my kids, and my poor kids would be like, Mom, I'm like, oh, why do you need water? It was so much. My body just felt like it was so out of whack, and even my cycles were impacted, and the severity of those were, which feel free to ask about on a more one-on-one basis. Yeah. But so basically every system in my body was impacted and out of whack, and honestly, I had sought out so many different treatments and trying to get help, and I just one doctor I mentioned to you said I was like a case of House, like I should have been on the show House, and I just felt so discouraged. Like, am I just a crazy person? Yeah. Have I become a hypochondriac at like 30, whereas I'd never really been one before? Yeah. I was feeling just, I think more than the pain and the problems, like not being able to engage with my children, and just the discouragement of like, I'm really young and I have a lot of really sad life to live if this is going to be the rest of.
Yeah. And Dr. Scopel, the way that she sort of explained it to me was, I mean, my body was sort of attacking itself, and that's why, my face breakouts and our hair loss and all those things, like your body just is sort of attacking itself. And it sounds like that was kind of what was going on with you. So after your mom saw the videos and talked to me a little bit about like what I had been through, then tell me a little bit, she said, hey Lindsay, you need to call Diana, and we kind of had a conversation. You decided that you wanted to do the stool sample kit, and so I mailed you a stool sample kit, and you did the test, and like within about a week had a conversation remotely with, you had a conversation remotely with the doctor, and then you basically got, after having an hour consult with the doctor, then you got an email summary sort of that tells you exactly what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, supplements. Tell a little bit about some of those things.
So Dr. Scopel called, and she was remarkable. First off, I've never had an experience with someone, like medically speaking, who I felt was on my team, and she came to the call having already read all of my information, I could tell. So she wasn't trying to play catch up as we were, in our limited time. Yeah. She was like, I've already looked at this, here's what we're doing, let's go, let's get into this. And I couldn't believe how prepared she came to the conversation.
That's nice.
I felt like she was fully invested in, like, let's get this done.
Let's figure out the root cause. Yes. Yeah.
And there was, I think the test is 4 or 5 pages, and it was sort of all in code. And she went line by line by line by line, and then she put like, this and this go together, and this is why your stomach is complete, your digestive system is completely broken because of this. She put all these puzzle pieces together, and she went through every single line. And then after we were done, and she sent the follow-up email, she sent all of her suggestions, but she also sent the copy where she had made the notes that they'd already sent me the test results, which was sort of encoded, and I didn't really know. But then she sent me her copy where line by line she had handwritten out her notes, so I could even look back to it and sort of figure out, oh, okay, this sort of makes a little bit more sense now.
Right. Very cool. So then you made some dietary changes. You took like some specific supplements for what was going on with your gut, to just sort of whatever deficiencies and however it was attacking itself, to take those specific supplements, reduce the number of foods that were causing inflammation and things like that. So about how long did that process take, and like when did you start to feel better?
So I think I had the conversation with her the Monday before Thanksgiving, and I was like, we're starting the dietary changes tomorrow, and so on Thanksgiving I missed out Thanksgiving, but the first week was terrible. It felt like I had the flu. I was like detoxing off of sugar, so I should already say I've been gluten-free for a while because of trying to fight off the inflammation, and so this first week I was basically detoxing off of a number of things, but I think it just spoke to the level, like even as a person who has like been pursuing wellness for a while, this just spoke to me how toxic some of the things I'd still been taking in were, because for the first like 5 or 6 days I was like on the couch sort of like crying and whimpering, headaches, body aches, like it really felt like I was going through the flu, just from the basic like sugar and probably some, and I can't do milk anyway, so it's like cheese and sugar and corn is sort of the main things that weren't already out of my diet that had to go. So I think it just really spoke to me at how toxic some of that stuff is, even as someone who is trying to live a pretty whole lifestyle.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, you would recommend doing it. You're glad you did it, and you learned so much. And how has it kind of changed your life for the better?
Yeah. So after week 1, I had 30 days of the diet recommendation, and I think there were 5 or 6 different supplements that I was taking, and they sort of progressively tapered off towards the end. But from the time week 2 started on, it feels like sort of a cheesy sales pitch to even say like I've never felt better in my entire life. I didn't feel better as a teen. The joint pain, but my jaw that was hurting every single day for 2 years has 0 pain. My chiropractic adjustments, not only have I been able to cut them down, but they've been more effective because they're not like everything is around it is where it's right.
Yeah.
It's as it should be to like receive the manipulation at that point. I'm telling everybody that, and it's almost I think you and I've talked about like when you've been that sick for that long, you just feel just such discouragement and like, could this really help? Whatever, I'll try it. I've tried, so many other things. And I've never even gotten short-term relief from anything I've tried. And this has been, so I talked to Dr. Scopel, I think the Monday of Thanksgiving. So I've been basically the dietary changes and then the supplements you sent to me right around, it might have been the day after Thanksgiving. So this is still fairly recent, and I still feel like I have continued to feel better and better.
Yeah. Well, that's outstanding. So you would recommend that if somebody was, having strange symptoms. I have another friend that she had hives from head to toe. Weird rashes and things that would just show up at different times, but she couldn't ever really like diary her food to figure out what it was, and we couldn't ever put all the pieces together. And I feel like that's what Dr. Scopel and Dr. Banks do for us, where we kind of put all the pieces together, figure out from the root,
right,
like how to have a whole body wellness, basically. So I appreciate you, sharing your story, and we're so excited for you that you're feeling better.
Yeah,
and
I'm so excited.
If anybody would be interested in the stool sample kits, we keep these at the store at Nature's Elite all the time. I'd love to talk to you about this more. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about it, and I know Lindsay would be open to
Absolutely.
speaking to anybody too. So sure, if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them and help you out.